It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you on your Tuesday. It's October 4th, 2016. This is Community Conversations. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you. I have my co-host with me today, Mrs. Kabila Harden. And today is Tax Collector Day. Not the most popular job in the world, but hey, someone has to do it. And for the race for Craighead County Tax Collector, we actually are going to have both candidates on the program. For the first half of the show, we are going to have the Republican candidate, Mr. Wes Eddington, who is in the studio with us right now. And then on our second half of the show, we're going to have Mrs. Marsha Phillips, the incumbent, who is the Democrat for the office. KLK and the Voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council does not endorse nor support any candidate, nor was any compensation provided for this interview. This interview is provided for informational purposes only. So how are you doing today, Mr. Eddington?
I'm doing really good. Thank you very much. It's good to be with you.
All right, well, Mr. Eddington, let's go ahead and get started. So tell the listeners about yourself and why you decided to run for Craighead County Tax Collector.
Well, my name's Wes Eddington, and I live in Craighead County and lived here and worked here for quite a while, except for a small stint there in Greene County where I was a JP. Okay. But the reason why I ran for this position was I believe I was called and had an opportunity to run.
Okay. So can you tell us what can you
tell us about your experience and qualifications for the position?
Oh, sure. I worked with my father, who was an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I did audiograms, which are hearing tests, and I ran his accounts payable ledger. And then he retired in I believe it was 99, in December of 99. And I started doing rental property from there.
Okay. So can you tell us what else that you can possibly bring to the table concerning this position?
And before you get into that, perhaps kind of define the role of the tax collector for the listeners that may not be familiar with the position.
Sure. One of the main things, as the title of the office implies, the tax collector does this. It collects taxes. And these taxes fund the school programs, the schools, funds the levy districts, funds the fire districts, and the libraries. And it also funds the city functions.
Okay, so, and also, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead and ask your questions. I mean, yeah. I know I'm the more political one of the both of us, but yes. But it's good to have your perspective because not everybody is a political junkie like me. So, for the people who are less informed, you're their voice.
Okay, so can you maybe explain what types of taxes? People here, paying taxes. The most common that we know of are like your property taxes. What other types of taxes do you collect or do people pay into?
Yes. We'll take like me, for instance. Okay, so I've got some rental property, and that's my real property tax, right? Okay, and then I've got my cars.
Okay.
That's personal property.
Okay.
And those are the two things that you pay on is the real estate taxes and the personal property taxes.
Okay.
So if you've got like trailers or that kind of thing, you pay tax on that also.
Okay. Real and personal property tax. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when people are delinquent, then
yeah, that's the problem.
Then what is your role and responsibility concerning that?
Well, when they go delinquent, there's a 10% fee that goes along with that if they're delinquent.
Okay.
And then, this is the tough part. And if it goes delinquent for a year, then the property kind of goes into foreclosure.
Oh.
And then if you don't pay your personal property tax,
Okay.
it's tough to get your car license.
Okay. So not paying your personal tax affects you getting your car tax renewed.
Yes, ma'am.
Not paying your real property tax affects you possibly continuing to own that
Yes.
property.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what would say a trailer, not like a home trailer, but something that you would hitch to a back of a truck, what would that fall under?
That's personal property.
Personal property. So anything you live in, any structure that you can live in or work in, that's real, and then everything else falls under personal.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so, what do you hope to bring to the table? What changes do you hope to make?
Well, there's several things I'd like to bring to the table. One is to get the statements out early, where folks can go and make plans on paying their real estate taxes.
Okay.
And then the other thing is I want to make the assessor's office and the collector's office make their computer systems directly compatible.
Okay.
Those are the two main things that I'm really wanting to do.
Okay. Now, one thing I would like to add that I find very convenient for me, because I don't like to get out and go all over town. You can now do a lot of these things online.
Yes, ma'am, you sure can.
So when did that start?
You know, when I was in Greene County, they had theirs in 10, but I don't know when they started that online pay system in Craighead County. I really don't know that.
And so for those of you out there that are listening and watching, if you're interested and you're like me who don't like to run all over town, and your things are due when it's hot outside and when it's like scorching in the middle of the summer, you can do things online, and it's very easy to set it up.
Yes, it is.
Very safe. I haven't had any issues with my debit card being charged extra, so I really appreciate the service that Craighead County has now offered. So are there any other issues that you may have noticed or are aware of that are concerning the tax collector that you would like to see different, or just?
Well, as I learned this in the Jonesboro Sun, that the statements need to go out early to where we can get the schools funded, and that's going to be a main focus of my running that office, is to get those statements out early where the schools can get funded, where they don't have any issues with making payroll.
Okay, so the taxes that you collect from the residents, do all of the money that goes, are they totally 100% dependent on that tax money to pay payroll, or
Yes.
do they have other sources?
Yes, that's the money they run the schools on.
Speaking with Mr. Wes Eddington, he is the Republican candidate for Craighead County Tax Collector. If you got a question or a call for Mr. Eddington, you can call or text 870-277-1080. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080. Mr. Eddington, I am looking on your Facebook page. It says, and which is, by the way, if you want to check it out, Wes Eddington for Craighead County Tax Collector, and it says, please read today's Jonesboro Sun about the current Craighead County Collector. I asked for your vote on November 8th. Message me if I can place a campaign sign on your property. But the article references, says tax collectors' actions defy logic, and just kind of glancing over the article, it's talking about how the current collector had, I guess, responded to a statement saying that she was busy running for re-election. First of all, is the term 2 years or 4 years? Because I know that's actually a issue on the ballot to extend county officers for 2 years to 4 years. So that, first of all, just answer that, and then I just kind of want to get your comments on that article, since this was something that you did post on your page.
Yes, that is a ballot initiative. I believe it's number 1, changing the term limit from to the term of the office to 4 years from 2 years to 4. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, I'm sorry.
And so what was the other question there?
Okay, well, basically the article it's talking about the current collector. She's going to be joining us for you out there listening on the second half
Yes.
of the show, and she'll have her opportunity to respond to this as well. But it says it's almost painful, albeit comical, to read Craighead County Clerk Marsha Phillips, and this is the Sun article, by the way. This is not Mr. Eddington's words. Albeit comical to read Craighead County Clerk Marsha Phillips' reason for some of the actions or inactions she takes. Earlier this year, quorum court members were concerned about the lack of effort by Phillips' office to collect hundreds of thousands of dollars of delinquent taxes. Her excuse: she was too busy running for re-election. She actually said that. And this was in the Jonesboro Sun. Again, this was not the words of Mr. Eddington, but what is your response to that?
Well, my response to that is, when you have a 2-year term, you're all the time campaigning, getting your name out there and making sure, if you want to do the job for another term, you have to get your name out there and let everybody know what you're doing. And that will keep you busy. That will keep you busy. But the thing they elected the person for, the tax collector for, is to collect taxes. And that's tough on Miss Phillips, that those kind of things got said about her, and I'm really not wanting to get into personal issues about things, but it's tough to be able to run an office and campaign at the same time, but you have to do both.
Okay.
You have to do both.
Wow. Okay. What about employee relationships or relations? Like you mentioned earlier about streamlining the communication between the assessor and the collector. How do you hope to go about doing that?
There is a software program out there that will make those two offices directly compatible.
So do you think that it would eventually eliminate the need to go from one window to another window? Everything can be done in one.
That would be nice if you could do that, but those two offices have different purposes.
Okay.
And they're set up differently. So each office will have their own duties they have to do. When they change, like we'll just take it for instance, if they change an address in the collector's office, it will automatically change in the assessor's office, and then do the same in reverse.
Okay. So how can the residents help the process of getting their statements in on time? Because some people move with the change of the wind. So
yes.
How can the residents help you all do your job so that they can get what they need in a timely manner?
Yes. Stay in contact with those offices and make sure that they have a correct address.
Okay.
Because that wrong address can impact the person if they don't get a statement, that may help them go into delinquency or something like that, or get a 10% charge against their account. So, you need to kind of keep in touch with the assessor and the collector.
Okay, we have a question that was called in. What do tax collectors do besides taking money?
That's their main job.
Okay, so that's your job.
That's the job. Is to collect the taxes and put out the forms so that folks can know what they're doing and what the status is of the accounts receivable.
Okay, so what if someone is deceased? What happens then?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what happens there. To be truthful, I just don't know. I'll have to check on that and get back with you. I can find that out.
Okay. I hear the phone ringing again. Maybe someone's...
Well, that's the office phone. For those of you who are listening, don't call our office phone. The studio line to call is 870-277-1080. Do not call our business line, which is 870-039951. If you want to ask a question for any guest on the show, please call or text 870-277-1080. You can also leave your comments and your questions on our Facebook live stream. We're speaking with Mr. Wes Eddington, Republican candidate for Craighead County tax collector. He's in the studio for segment 1 of today's show. Segment 2 today, we will have the incumbent Mrs. Marsha Phillips, who is the Democratic candidate for the office. Mr. Eddington, is there any other issues that you have a concern about? You've been campaigning, you've been to a lot of events, you've even been to some KLEK events. What are some of the things that people have told you that are of concern to them, or that's on their mind, or that they want to see?
Well, people have received my candidacy real well.
Okay.
It's been a lot of fun to go out and meet people. I've talked to some folks, and they said that they wish that the tax statements would get out earlier, because they have to go and make installments to pay those.
Okay.
And so that's real important to have those come out early as possible, and that's one of the things I'm going to try to do.
Okay, so number one is just tax statements. And then you mentioned before, well, I guess it'll be number two or number one, part A or B.
Yes, ma'am.
Getting the money in on time so that the schools can get their money. So anyone that has children in school, you know how important it is for the school to run properly. The teachers have to get paid. The students have to have lunches, and
Yes.
everything needs to run like a well-oiled machine. So having their money paid in on time is very important.
Yes,
as
it
well.
is. Yes, it is. We need to have the best educated kids we can, because that means that they'll get better jobs and raise folks where they can go and get jobs, be well educated. It's just really, really important segment of our economy is to have well educated kids.
Okay.
Now, I can imagine that tax collecting in Craighead County would probably be kind of challenging, because just in Jonesboro, you have 4 different school districts, and I don't know if because I don't own a house in Jonesboro, but I imagine the millages in each of these 4 districts could be potentially different, and you'd have to collect and then distribute this money amongst all 4 school districts just in Jonesboro. And then you have the other school districts in Craighead County. I can imagine that could be a daunting challenge.
Yes, it is, but that it's not that tough, actually. You just what happens is that they go and you take the money, and then you turn it over to the treasurer, and then the treasurer distributes that money. Terry McNatt does that.
Okay, so we have another question.
Somebody
Okay.
said we need to give the phone number slower so that
Okay.
people can hear it. I'm sorry, that's the radio voice in me. So I'm going to give the number really slowly. It's 870-277-1080. Get your pens and paper, people. And I'm not being funny. I mean, because sometimes as radio guys, we do talk too fast. So it's 870-277-1080. And Miss Nora, it's picking up over there. Let me start over. 870-277-1080. And you can call or text that number if you have a call. Excuse me, if you do have a call, if you have a comment or a question for Mr. Wes Eddington. He is the Republican candidate for Craighead County tax collector.
Okay.
And we got about 2 minutes, so if you got a call for him, you better get it in now. So let's go ahead and...
I'm trying to get this question.
Okay, go ahead and get that question in.
What is the process? I'm guessing they're trying to say to certify land, something about delinquent to landowners. I'm not understanding.
I think it's like if someone gets delinquent on their taxes, how would that be? How would the tax collector handle that?
First of all, if they go delinquent and then and they don't go ahead and pay their taxes, those lands are transferred over to the land commissioner in Little Rock.
Okay.
And then they're sold off in foreclosure. There's still several steps in between there where the landowner can pay his taxes and get his land back and get it out of foreclosure. But that's the worst part of it there.
Okay.
Is when they get foreclosed on it, the property goes to the land commissioner in Little Rock.
All right, speaking with Mr. Wes Eddington, Republican candidate for Craighead County tax collector. Mr. Eddington, we have about a minute and a half left, so this is your opportunity to sell yourself to the listeners. Tell them why they should elect you, Craighead County tax collector.
Well, to introduce myself one more time to get my name out there, my name is Wes Eddington. I'm a candidate for the Craighead County tax collector. I really would like for you to vote for me. I humbly ask for your vote, and I will try to represent Craighead County and serve Craighead County to the best of my ability. I will do that with integrity and I will work hard at doing that, and I will have compassion in my office. I will take good care of the folks, and I would just like to ask you for your vote. And I thank you very much, y'all, to having me in.
Thank you.
You made me feel really comfortable, and it was a good time.
Well, we try to do that with all of our guests in the studio. Any shout outs that you want to give? We still got about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Well, I tell you what I would like to do. I would like to thank my wife for helping me so much in this campaign. And
what's her name?
Her name is Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
And I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior for saving my soul.
Amen.
So we'll give a shout out to my Lord in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Eddington, for stopping by the studio. Coming back after the break, we'll have Mrs. Marsha Phillips, the Democratic candidate for Craig County Tax Collector. Stay tuned. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for new ways to romance your spouse? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. After a number of years together, marriage can start to seem ordinary, routine, or even boring. But I'd like to challenge you to bring the passion and excitement back into your marriage by making your spouse feel loved. Here are some simple ways to romance your spouse. First, write them a love note. Tell your spouse something you love about them, and then hide the note in their wallet or on their pillow. Second, go out on a date. Rekindle some of those feelings you first had for each other by doing some things you did when you first met, like holding hands at dinner or going for a walk on the beach. Remember, your family first.
Want to connect with Mark on Facebook? You can at facebook.com/Mark Merrill.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook.
KLEK 102.5 FM and Massey Productions presents the inspirational gospel stage play, What Don't Kill Me Makes Me Stronger, a story of three sisters challenged to cope with cancer, drugs, and rape that will inspire you, renew, and reaffirm your faith. 2 shows, 6 and 8:30 p.m., Friday, October the 14th, during A-State Homecoming Weekend at the Epic Center, 1899 County Road 333, Hasbrook Road in Jonesboro. Tickets are $10 in advance, $20 at the door, and can be purchased at www.klekfm.org or by calling 870-277-1080. Bring the entire family Friday, October the 14th during A-State Homecoming Weekend to the Epic Center to see What Don't Kill Me Makes Me Stronger, the inspirational gospel stage play. 2 shows, 6 and 8:30 p.m. This is a KLEK fundraiser.
The City of Jonesboro Civil Service Commission will be testing for the position of entry-level firefighter. Applications are available at the Human Resources Department located at City Hall, 300 South Church Street, Suite 100 in Jonesboro, Arkansas. The qualifications are candidates must be a United States citizen, possess a high school diploma or GED, be a minimum of 21 years of age, a maximum age of 34 years of age as required by Arkansas law, no felony convictions. Applicants are also required to possess a valid driver's license, pass a written exam, a physical agility test, a drug screen, medical exam, and a comprehensive background check, including a polygraph test. The City of Jonesboro is an equal opportunity employer, and women and minorities are especially encouraged to apply. More information is available at 870-933-4640. Applications will be available through October 14th, 2016. New St. John Missionary Baptist Church Pastors Aid Committee presents a fish fry fundraiser Sunday, October 9th at the church located at 308 North Main Street in Jonesboro. The time is 1 o'clock p.m. The deadline to pre-order plates is September 24th. The plates include 3 pieces of fish, choice of 2 sides, dessert, and drink. More information is available at the church at 870-932-6915.
Lame excuses and other forms of voter apathy have no place in American democracy. Show that you care, do your duty, and go vote. This is a reminder from Cheryl Underwood Radio.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK. Cato Wonder in the studio with you. Mrs. Quabila Harden, my co-host, is with me, and we are now joined by the incumbent for the Craighead County Tax Collector's Office, Mrs. Marsha Phillips. In our earlier segment, we had the Republican candidate, Mr. Wes Eddington, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. How you doing today, Mrs. Phillips?
Fine. How are you?
All right, so Mrs. Phillips, just tell the listeners about yourself and your experience as the current Craighead County Tax Collector.
Okay. Well,
Closer.
oh, closer. Okay. Well, I never dreamed, but I started 35 years ago as a public servant. I had small children, and the job opening come open. My brother had worked in the judge's office and told me about an opening in one of the offices, so I applied for that, and I guess the rest is kind of history. I saw my dad. He was a city council for Jonesboro for 16 years. And, I was thinking, why did he do that? Because I was really young, and I thought, why do you want those late night phone calls? Why do you want these people, versing their opinion like maybe? But I see it's because you care about people. And I truly care about people, or I wouldn't have been there that long. And I've made a lot of friends, and even the people that I've made, they feel like family. And I hope that everybody that comes in there to talk to me feels like family.
Okay. And so, what experience, since you're running again, like you said, what experience, can you tell us?
How long have you been the tax collector?
I'm on my 4th year.
Okay.
Because I know on your campaign signs it says, I believe, years experience.
Yes, I didn't really count some of the years. I started part-time under Andrew Easton, and that's how that I had learned the processes of tax collecting. And then when he retired, his Carol Ward had come in 1989, and I was in between a job there at the county, and she asked me, she said, would you like to come and work?
Okay.
And I said, sure, because I still had small children, I still needed to work, and I enjoy helping the public. I mean, that's the number one goal is, for me.
Okay. Alrighty, so since you have been in a position, you say for 4 years, I'm sure that you've seen a lot of ebbs and flows of things, changes and processes. Are there some things that you personally would like to see changed?
Well, I guess there's we're just starting the e-statements.
Okay.
That is a little thing that needs some more work on, and that I would we have some ideals for. In our program, that we are on, it was implemented 2 months after I had started with the county. So this is a system that has been in place with the county since October of 1980. But it has been updated through the years because, technology is always updating.
Okay.
And I believe our technology that we have in our office is streamlined. I know there are more things out there that can enhance what we have, and that is things that I am looking into.
Okay.
We're speaking with Mrs. Marsha Phillips. She is the Democratic candidate for Craighead County Tax Collector. Phone lines are open at 870-277-1080. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080. You can call or text that number if you have a call. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep saying call. If you have a comment or a question for Mrs. Phillips. Well, Mrs. Phillips, earlier in the hour we had Mr. Wes Eddington, your opponent for Craighead County Tax Collector. Just want to see if you want to respond to any of his comments that he said earlier. Give you the opportunity to do so.
Okay. What was his?
Well, one of the things that he mentioned is that he said he would like to see that the school taxes, I believe, be collected early. Kubila, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, all taxes in general, so that the schools can get their money to continue to function, properly.
Yes. Well, the tax records open March the 1st.
Okay.
And you have till October the 15th to pay your taxes. There are some people that when you send out bills or when the books open, they do come in and pay. But you can't make people pay the majority pays at the end. Like this year, there's an extension to October 17th because the 15th is on a Saturday.
Okay.
So we will go through that Monday. But, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, well, what are they thinking? You can't go out and make people pay current tax.
I do have a question since you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked with Mr. West about, real and personal property. And so, okay, what if they have purchased vehicles, some people get in situations where the vehicle's no longer running, they just don't deal with it anymore. So say they have about 3 to 5 years of taxes owed, they maybe have never purchased another vehicle or anything. So I'm sure that's like delinquent to the nth degree. What happens how do you collect on people that just stop paying?
Well, if for car tags, say that they ever, they got another car and they want to get their tags, they would have to pay those taxes. But as soon as, if their car's not running or say they lose their car or it's in a, say they have an accident or something, they need to contact the assessor's office and see if they would have to talk to the assessor to see if any changes could be made. If not, they have to pay those tax before they can get car tax.
All right, Mrs. Phillips, we have a text question, and this question is, what are the rules for getting taxes out? What is the deadline?
Okay, by law, the deadline for getting tax statements out is July the 1st.
July 1st.
Right. And there's many things that has to be changed and done, like disabled veterans, they get exemptions. We get the mortgage companies ready at even before the tax books open. We get them, we send them their files electronically. So that's where the bulk of the money comes from. And this year we received it in April, and then there was just a few. I hate to say the money amounts, but the rest of it was in May.
Okay.
So that's a large part of the money at the beginning.
And just to follow up on another statement Mr. West made about getting the statements out early, is it possible, and of course I don't know how everything works in your office, but is it possible to get the information to the mortgage companies much earlier in order to try to get the statements out to the residents in a earlier? Is there any way to push back the date so that everyone gets things in a more timely manner, so that they can get their money in between March and October?
Yes. We do send them out electronically.
Okay.
Like we have several different mortgage companies.
Okay.
And that's where the bulk of the money, that's where we receive the bulk, because they have a law within 60 days of when they receive their statement, they are to send the money to the counties. And that's the biggest part of the money. Some people do come in and pay because they know the books open March the 1st. We try to get our statements out as soon as possible. They are outsourced to another company. So we have to kind of wait in line to get them out.
So is there something you may be looking into as far as bringing instead of outsourcing, that that bringing it back to Craig County? Do you have the resources to?
No, we did when I first started years ago. We did our statements. We mail out about 55,000 statements.
Okay.
So it is it is more reasonable to outsource it. We take bids. The bids have to go through the county judge's office. We do take the lowest bids, but there's other things to consider of what they have to offer, the quality, and their getting them out on time and sooner. I do realize the school needs their monies because we do work for the schools, and the money collected, 80 to 85% of all money collected goes to each school.
Okay.
Speaking with Mrs. Marsha Phillips, she is the Democratic candidate and the incumbent for Craighead County tax collector. And if you have a question or a comment for Mrs. Phillips, the phone number is 870-277-1080. Once again, the phone number is 870-277-1080. You can call or text that question. All right, Mrs. Phillips, I just want to kind of get your response to a couple of things, and if you don't want to answer, you don't have to, but I do want to give you the opportunity. There was a couple things that was reported about you in the Jonesboro Sun. The first was a comment that you made about too busy campaigning to collect them, and then in the second article, it was an article about some allegations that you hired your daughter and granddaughter to work in the collector's office. So I just want to kind of give you the opportunity to give your side of the story.
Yes, that had started in the quorum court meeting on December the 28th about issuing writs on the delinquent business accounts. That was 8 years of accounts. It wasn't just, a current year or, they were delinquent. We have since collected more than half by going on the information that we have faxed, emailed, sent out, invoices. We have called them on the phone. But
okay, I was asking for your response because, again, the first article was that you made some statements that you was too busy campaigning to collect taxes, and the second one was that you hired some family members in your office, and there was some. I'm assuming that there was some allegations of nepotism involved there.
Yes, well, the campaigning, that was kind of taken out of context because I said I have campaigned for 3 years, and I stopped there because I didn't want it anything else to get distorted. But I have managed an office. I have maintained the updates. I have 9 employees that I'm over. Besides, we've been doing the updates on the bookwork because we are the bookkeeper for the county. And then the nepotism, there's not a nepotism policy, but that was not a very good judgment of hiring family on my part because I did not know the controversy it would cause. But I had a lady that worked in my office that had to quit. Her husband got a job in Mississippi County for the Office of Emergency Services, and I had asked her if she would plan to drive back and forth. She said no. They had to live in that county. So when she quit, the part-time that has been there since collectors before me, I moved her up to a full-time position because she knew the job, and we're right here at the deadline. I did hire my family to answer the phone. I have hired another lady she has worked previously for the county. She is to help out because one of my family members has possibly another job.
Thank you for answering those questions.
And like I said, we just wanted to give you the opportunity to give your side of the story, because we like to. That's what we do with this platform. We allow for all sides to speak and because I believe that everyone should have an opportunity to, give their sides, because they said there's two sides to every story. We are speaking with Mrs. Marsha Phillips. She is the Democratic candidate and the incumbent for Craighead County Tax Collector. And if you want to call or text your question or comment, it is 870-277-1080. 870-277-1080. You can also comment on our Facebook live stream. We have a Facebook shout out to David Carnes.
Okay, I want to ask this question that was called in earlier. What is the process of certifying land? I'm guessing that's delinquent. Still not understanding.
Okay. What that is like if you don't pay your taxes, like on personal, if you don't pay them, you cannot get your car tax.
Okay.
But on the real estate, by law, if they're delinquent for 2 years and not paid, they are certified to the state land commissioner's office in Little Rock, and then we send out notices of the current owner and address to let them know that they have. We usually certify in May. We have up till June the 1st. And we try to give them every chance to pay, because I hate to see anybody lose their land.
Okay.
And once they're certified, then the land commissioner will hold them 2 more years before they're sold. So.
Okay. So people have at least 2 years before they run the risk of going into foreclosure.
Well, it wouldn't be foreclosure. I think would it be like a lien placed upon the property?
Yes, it's just certified where the taxes have to be paid down to the land commissioner. We no longer have them on the county level. They're at the state level.
So after 2 years, it's out of your hands.
Yes, they will have to.
Now, once those taxes are paid, would the land commissioner then return them to the county?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We get reports that's done on their website, and we go in and we look at the website. We update daily or every other day. It used to be monthly. You had everything that was brought up current. Then we add them on our books, and we make notations in there, letting them know that they were redeemed from the state, and then we start fresh with a year.
Okay. And I want to ask, what happens when someone is deceased, and their family doesn't report or doesn't continue to pay their taxes? So what happens then?
Well, that's a good question, because I have some businesses that are deceased. It's up to the assessor to take them off the books.
Okay.
And as far as personal, as long as the things are not assessed, it shouldn't continue on personal. Now, real estate, usually it goes through, I believe, probate.
Okay.
And the family will see to the real estate.
Okay.
And that actually happened to me when my parents passed away. Actually, we got a notice that we were delinquent, and so I had to explain to my parents had passed away, and then I took care of everything, and then it got transferred to me. That's the short version of it. We got a quick text. We got another minute. It's not that the real estate taxes not foreclosed, but actually certified to the state, and after a couple of years, then they go up for auction. All right, well, thank you for that comment, but we only got a minute and a half to go. So, Mrs. Phillips, this is your opportunity to sell yourself to the voters and tell them why you feel you should be reelected Craighead County Tax Collector.
Well, I was thinking about that. Being in the public service for 35 years is kind of hard to just stop. I have considered since all those years of maybe I need to get out. Maybe I don't have anything to offer, but I really do. I feel like I have a lot to offer Craighead County. I have lots of friends. I've made lots of friends. I treat everyone like you're my family. I listen to everyone's views. and we can agree to disagree, but we still are friends at the end. I'm still going to help everyone. My main goal is not to hurt anyone, but I still feel I have a lot to do in that office. Okay. And I care about people. I care about the taxes. I care about Cricket County.
Okay.
All right. Any shout outs you want to give? We got 30 seconds. Any shout outs you want to give? Anybody you want to say hello to?
Oh, hello to my family. Hello to my friends. This has been a very enjoyable experience. I don't know. This might be my next call and being on the radio.
Great. Well, thank you, Mrs. Phillips, for stopping by. We'll have your announcements when we come back from the break. You listen to KLEK on 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. While honest tax preparers provide their customers a copy of the tax return they prepared, victims of scams usually are not given a copy of what was filed. Victims also report that the fraudulent refund is deposited into the scammer's bank account. Then the scammers deduct a large fee before cutting a check to the victim, a practice never used by legitimate tax preparers. So buying into these schemes can result in costly penalties for filing false claims or receiving fraudulent refunds. Be very careful when choosing an individual or firm to prepare your taxes. Honest preparers generally ask for proof of income, they sign returns as the preparer, they enter their IRS preparation tax identification number, and they always provide the taxpayer a copy of the return. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Experience the joy with Bishop Adrian R. Rogers of Fullness of Joy Church, 3307 Ray Street, Jonesboro, Arkansas, 72401.
The key to our representative form of American democracy is the right to vote. When you cast a ballot on Election Day, you make America stronger. Now is the time to register. Election Day will soon be here. Do your part and vote. This is a reminder from Cheryl Underwood Radio.
From the KLEK Community Calendar, A-State Care presents After School Tutoring in the Community. Available Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 o'clock p.m. until 5 o'clock p.m. through December 6, 2016. Subjects that will be taught will be language arts, writing, reading comprehension, mathematics, science, geography, social studies, and history. The address is 911 Magnolia Road in Jonesboro, Arkansas.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK. We just wrapped up Tax Collector Day. We had Mr. Wes Eddington, the Republican candidate, and Mrs. Marsha Phillips, the Democratic candidate for Craighead County Tax Collector. KLEK and the Voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council does not endorse nor support any candidate for office, nor was any compensation provided for either interview. The interviews were provided for informational purposes only. So hopefully you will listen to those interviews. They are being live streamed and will be archived on Facebook, and make your decision on which candidate you feel has the best one. They both also actually have Facebook pages. Just look them up. Look up Marsha Phillips, look up Wes Eddington, and you'll find information on their Facebook pages. And this goes for all of the just about all of the candidates running for office now have social media pages. They have websites, so you can go on there, you can browse the information, see articles, you can see platforms, you can see their stance on the issues, and take that information with you when you go into the voter booth. And speaking of voting, the last day to register to vote is October 10th, and we do have voter registration forms here at the studio, so if you need to get registered to vote, you can stop by the studio, or I will even bring the form to you. Just call us at the station. Yeah, you can actually call the business line on that one. And just give me a call, tell me where you live, and I will bring a voter registration form to you because we want everyone to be registered to vote. And the first day of early voting is October 24th. Kabila, I believe you had something you want to say before we get into the announcements?
No, what is part of the announcements that I'm going to look up to make sure?
Okay, well, first I'm going to announce where I'm going to be at today. At 3 o'clock today, I will be on the campus of Arkansas State University. U.S. Senate candidate Connor Eldridge will be speaking, I believe, at the agricultural building over on Aggie Road, so I'll be there. And then National Night Out. In fact, there are going to be several National Night Out activities going on all over the city of Jonesboro, and the one that I will be at will be over at University Lions Park, that is next to Success School. The KLEK van will be out there. I'll be broadcasting live, so you'll get to hear some live updates of some of the things that are going on. And then let's see if I can find any of the others. I'm looking on our Instagram. Kabila does such a good job of posting the various activities.
If you look at the one that's the black and white picture, all the locations are listed under there.
It's on my Instagram?
Yes.
Okay, the black and white, I'm not seeing that. I see the Stand With Us event. I see there's a press release. I can pull the press release and get that information, because we were sent a press release about the various National Night Out. So let me get that.
I have it pulled up.
Okay, we'll go ahead and announce those other places.
Okay, the first one is City Water and Light Park at 737 West Cherry Avenue, 5 to 7 p.m. University Heights Lion Club Park or Northside Ballpark, which is at 501.5 North Bridge Street. That's from 4 to 7 p.m.
And that's the one we'll be at.
Temple Baptist Church at 2405 Redwood Boulevard from 5 to 7 p.m. And NEA Children's Advocacy Center, 1302 Stone Street from 5 to 7 p.m.
All right, and then this Wednesday, don't forget the A-State home game after party. It's going to be the only party in town that night. And of course, it's for grown folks, 21 and up. It's at Legends 1025. Starting price is just $5. It is a KLEK fundraiser. First 30 ladies in free, but we are going to have happy hour at 5 o'clock. So you can actually come by Legends at 5 o'clock, watch the game on several big screen TVs, enjoy some nice specials. Can't tell you what the specials are because this is non-commercial radio, but come hang out with your fellow supporters. Come hang out with KLEK Wednesday at 5 o'clock p.m. Watch the A-State game at Legends 1025, then stay for the A-State home game after party. You definitely don't want to miss that. And some big changes are coming to Legends 1025. Can't tell you about those yet either, but just trust me, you're going to like some of the things that we got going on. And then our next big event that we're looking forward to is What Don't Kill Me Makes Me Stronger, the gospel stage play. It's going down the weekend of A-State Homecoming Weekend, October 14th. That's that Friday. We're going to have two shows, 6 o'clock p.m., 8:30 p.m. Go ahead and get those tickets now. They're just $10. You can holler at anybody from KLEK. You can call any of the KLEK numbers, or you can go on our website, klekfm.org. Let me slow it down because some people say I talk too fast. That's klekfm.org, and you can get your tickets for the gospel play as well. That's October 14th. So look forward to seeing you there. Look forward to seeing you this Wednesday for the happy hour starting at 5 o'clock p.m. and the after party for the home game at Legends 1025. Don't miss it.
Okay, I have another announcement. Even though this one is coming up on Thursday, mark your calendars or go on Facebook and check whether you're interested or going. Meet the Candidate event and fundraiser hosted by Craighead County Clerk Kate Holliday. And this is going to take place at the West Washington Guest House at 535 West Washington on Thursday from 5 to 7:30 p.m. Donations accepted but not necessary. Please make donations available to Kate Holiday campaign. So if you're interested in learning more about him, please go out to the meet and greet. Meet the Kennedy event and fundraiser.
All right, and this Wednesday, I will live stream at the Kiwanis meeting. That's going to be at, I believe, 12:30. They're going to have the candidates for Craighead County, Judge Jeff Presley and Ed Hill. It's not going to be a debate, but each candidate will have an opportunity to speak to the audience and take questions. So we'll live stream that as well. So just stay tuned. Stay on our KLEK Facebook. Follow us on all social media, KLEK FM. Once again, that is KLEK FM. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, all of them. Just follow us and keep up with what we got going on. Look out for the KLEK van riding through a neighborhood near you. You can't miss it. It's big, it's white, it's got the KLEK logo on it, and so look for it in your neighborhood, in your community, because we are Jonesboro's community radio station. Let's look on the, like I said, I depend on our Instagram because Kabila does such a good job of posting all the community events on there. I believe we have something for our Hispanic friends. Viva la Noche. Shout out to Jen, who does our Spanish minute. She's way over in London now. That's October 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the A-State Pavilion. And then let's see what else we have. Staying with us, we have an event that's going to be talking about rape culture. October 6th, they're going to gather at the Arch on the campus of Arkansas State University to talk about the dangers of rape and the prevalence of sexual assault. We will wear all black and use our bodies in protest of the sexualization of the women in the United States face daily. So lots of great events going on in your community. And of course, stay on KLEK to learn about all of the great things going on in our community. That's going to do it for us for this edition of Community Conversations. Chief Elliott joins us tomorrow talking about community policing. You all be blessed. Have a great evening. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.